Nestled in Central Asia, Turkmenistan remains an enigma, often dubbed the North Korea of Central Asia. Rich in natural gas, this nation is shrouded in secrecy. Its authoritarian regime tightly controls information and access. Travel is restricted, media is non-existent, and the internet is censored. Turkmenistan's history is a tapestry of ancient empires and Soviet legacy. Independence in 1991 brought it to the world stage. Under Niyazov, it chose isolation and authoritarianism. Natural gas fuels growth but consolidates power. Turkmenistan grapples with its isolation legacy. Will it embrace openness and reform in the 21st century? Under Niyazov's rule, Turkmenistan descended into a bizarre and unsettling form of authoritarianism. Niyazov's eccentricities became the stuff of legend. He erected golden statues of himself, one of which famously rotated to always face the sun. He renamed months of the year and days of the week after himself and his family members. He banned opera and ballet, considering them unnecessary, and even outlawed gold teeth, deeming them aesthetically unpleasing. One of Niyazov's most enduring legacies is the Runama, a book he authored that became mandatory reading for all Turkmen citizens. This bizarre combination of autobiography, spiritual guidance, and revised history aimed to instill a national identity centered around Niyazov himself. Niyazov's reign was a stark reminder that absolute power corrupts absolutely. His bizarre decrees and personality cult, while seemingly comical on the surface, had a devastating impact on Turkmenistan's social, cultural, and political landscape. The country became increasingly isolated from the outside world, its citizens living in fear and uncertainty. Niyazov's policies profoundly impacted every aspect of Turkmen life. The education system prioritized the Runama, with students rigorously tested on its contents. The government controlled all media, broadcasting relentless propaganda praising Niyazov. Criticism was met with swift repression, keeping dissent in the shadows. Portraits of Niyazov adorned every public space, from government buildings to shops. Citizens were expected to express unwavering loyalty, with dire consequences for any slight. A vast network of informants reported any suspicious behavior or dissent. This created an atmosphere of mistrust and suspicion among neighbors and family. Turkmenistan remains one of the world's most repressive states, with a dismal human rights record. The scars of Niyazov's rule run deep, and it will take generations for Turkmenistan to recover. Niyazov's reign saw Ashgabat transformed into a surreal spectacle of white marble buildings, grandiose monuments, and sprawling parks. Billions of dollars were poured into this architectural extravaganza, funded by the country's vast natural gas reserves. The city became a testament to Niyazov's megalomania, a concrete manifestation of his desire to create a modern-day utopia in the heart of Central Asia. Among Ashgabat's most striking landmarks is the Neutrality Arch, a towering tripod topped with a revolving golden statue of Niyazov. While these architectural marvels might impress tourists with their sheer scale and opulence, they stand in stark contrast to the realities of life for many ordinary Turkmen citizens. Many people outside the capital continued to live in poverty, lacking access to basic necessities such as healthcare, education, and clean water. Ashgabat's transformation into a marble city was more than just an aesthetic endeavor, it was a calculated political strategy. The city's grandiose architecture served as a symbol of national pride and achievement, intended to distract from the regime's repressive policies and economic disparities. Beneath the veneer of progress and prosperity lay a darker reality in Turkmenistan. Forced labor, particularly in the cotton industry, remained widespread. Every year, thousands of citizens, including teachers, doctors, and civil servants, were forced to work in the cotton fields during the harvest season, often under harsh conditions and with little or no pay. This system of state-sponsored forced labor, a relic of the Soviet era, served as a stark reminder of the regime's disregard for human rights. State-controlled media outlets churned out a constant stream of praise for the president, extolling his virtues and achievements. Independent media was non-existent, and anyone who dared to criticize the government faced swift and brutal retribution. The Runama, Niyazov's bizarre autobiography-cum-spiritual guide, became a central tool of indoctrination. The regime's propaganda machine was remarkably effective in shaping public opinion and maintaining Niyazov's grip on power. Years of relentless indoctrination created a climate of fear and self-censorship, making it difficult to gauge the true extent of popular support for the government. When Niyazov died in 2006, he left behind a country both deeply marked by his eccentric rule and uncertain of its future. Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov, a former dentist and government official, assumed the presidency in a surprisingly smooth transition of power. Initially, there were hopes that Berdimuhamedov would usher in a new era of openness and reform, dismantling some of the more egregious aspects of Niyazov's legacy. Berdimuhamedov did introduce some changes, albeit cautiously. He relaxed some of Niyazov's more bizarre decrees, such as the ban on opera and ballet, and he reinstated the traditional names of the months and days of the week. However, despite these initial overtures, it soon became clear that Berdimuhamedov had no intention of fundamentally altering the authoritarian system he inherited. Statues of Berdimuhamedov began to appear across the country, and his image became a ubiquitous presence in public spaces. The hopes for a genuine democratic opening in Turkmenistan quickly faded as Berdimuhamedov consolidated his grip on power. In 2022, in a move that surprised many observers, Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov announced his decision to step down as president, paving the way for his son, Serdar Berdimuhamedov, to assume the reins of power. This dynastic succession raised concerns about the future of Turkmenistan, suggesting that the country was unlikely to deviate from its authoritarian trajectory. Serdar Berdimuhamedov, while relatively inexperienced, had been carefully groomed for leadership, having held various government positions under his father's tutelage. Since assuming the presidency, he has largely followed in his father's footsteps, maintaining tight control over all aspects of society and showing little tolerance for dissent. Turkmenistan today stands at a crossroads. The country possesses vast natural gas reserves, giving it the potential to become a major player in the global energy market. However, its closed political system, rampant corruption, and poor human rights record continue to deter foreign investment and hinder economic development. The future of Turkmenistan remains uncertain. The decision rests with the country's leadership, and only time will tell which direction Turkmenistan will choose.